And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time, and he's been never on this show, and we're very excited to get him on the show. 2022 safety Hall of Famer, the one and only Hall of Famer himself, LEROY Butler. LEROY, what's up, buddy?
Errol, we have a Hall of Famer on this camp.
That's right, we do.
Holy cow, thank you so much. Holy shit. Like, we all
Oh,
tried
I'm glad to be here.
We weren't as good as you, that's for damn sure.
Trust me, I tell you what, you guys do a great job. So God made everybody good at something, you know?
Well, I don't know about that. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that think they're better than what they think they are.
He made us.
That's a whole nother
story.
Yeah,
but I'm not on their show though.
No, that's true. That's true, and I'm happy that you decided to come on this show. And you know, it's so interesting because LEROY, I remember when the names were getting called up at the award show. That was the year that Revis went in and Joe Klecko went in. Joe Klecko was obviously waiting to get in for 30, 40 years, and he finally gets inducted. Yeah. But LEROY, you stood out more than both of those guys. And I'm a Revis fan. He's one of the greatest corners of all time. But there's only 6 safeties that have ever been inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, and you were the last one inducted. Tell us a little bit about your journey to the Hall of Fame.
The thing about it, most players, you don't, if you're not like a number one pick or highly touted, growing up, you really don't even think it's a possibility. That's why there's few safeties in there. But I'll tell you this, when I made the all-decade team, I remember Lee Rimble, he was our media guy for the Green Bay Packers. He said, you made the all-decade team, and then he just walked by my locker, and then he came back, and he said, if you made all-decade, you may one day be in the Hall of Fame. And at the time, I really didn't believe that because I think it's about quarterbacks, receivers, I mean, the LTs, the Reggie Whites. And then our era, I thought about it was just obviously Brett and Reggie, I thought would be first ballots, which they were. And then I started thinking about myself, and I was a first semifinalist. I said, okay, this is fun. But I'm the same guy. It's baked in the cake, whether I make it or not. So people really didn't know. But 2020, guys, that's when I started to say, man, I was a first-year finalist. But I saw Roger Staubach getting out of the car, and he was one of my heroes growing up. I didn't even care if I got in. I said, I just saw my GOAT. I'm serious. And I saw Tony Baselli, my brother. I mean, I love Tony Baselli, but he had been a finalist 3 times. And I got to tell you a funny story. So back then, you had to be in the hotel, and they either knock on your door or you get a phone call. The phone call means you didn't make it. So I have in my room, I have my wife, some media, Antonio Freeman, one of my teammates, another colleague of mine, and we're waiting for a knock or a phone call. All of a sudden, I hear a knock on the door, and we're in Miami. I'm getting excited. I open the door. It was Antonio Freeman. I said, what? He left the room to go get something to eat. I'm like, dude, do you know the anxiety? Soon as I let him in, and he's over there eating his wings, I get a phone call. I said, that better be an ex-girlfriend right now, because that better not be the Hall of Fame. We're never going to be friends. And we all started laughing. My wife was laughing too, if you could believe it. I pick up the phone, and Mr. Baker says, look, Mr. Butler, unfortunately, you didn't. I said, whoa. You don't have to go through all that. I'll see you next year. I'm fine with it. I saw Roger Staubach. I'm good. And then 21, the pandemic. 22, I'm at the house, and I get a knock, and fast forward through most of that, and I saw Woodson in his gold jacket. I really didn't think nothing of it. But if it was Brett Favre, I'd say, oh, this is the Hall of Fame. Because remember, after the pandemic, the new president was Jim Porter. Mm-hmm. He had a great idea, since it was COVID, why don't we have a teammate or or somebody that played in the organization go to welcome them into the Hall of Fame. And Woodson had just went in. So I was shocked, of course, and it was amazing. I was more happy for my teachers. I love teachers, my mom, grandparents, my son, my kids, and my wife, because it was just amazing. I was more happy too for the Packer fans. You know, the Packer fans are amazing because I only played with one franchise.
So you were the one who invented the Lambeau Leap back in the day, in the early 90s. Now we've seen, obviously, a lot of Packers players do it. We've also seen some rival players do it, and Packers fans like to push them. So what is the origin story behind
Yeah.
that?
Here's the thing. 1993, none of you were born, but 1993.
I was.
Well, just play along for a second. I know you weren't. So this is my dream. Now I'm trying to make you younger. Now, I get over to the locker room, and I'm a diva. Everybody knows me. I'm from Florida now. I've never been to Wisconsin. When they drafted me, I've never been to Wisconsin. And I'm thinking, okay, I get over there and I look at the thermostat, and it's a minus next to a 20. I said, guys, do they forfeit games? How does this work? So the vets are yelling at me, dude, what are you talking about? You've been in the league for like 2.5 years. I'm like, okay, but I needed to know, how do we survive? Because my refrigerator was 32 degrees when I left home. So we're going to die. No, they give you stuff to keep you warm. Well, anyway, I God is good, really, because this is nothing but God. I cause a fumble, okay? I see the ball come out, but I can't find it. The field's completely frozen. And the crowd's getting really loud. All of a sudden, I see Big Dog, which is Reggie White. That's his nickname, Big Dog. So Big Dog's struggling to run, and I see Bryce Pop, my teammate linebacker, and our other first-round pick linebacker in my class, Tony Bennett. He fell because they couldn't keep their feet when you see it on YouTube. So guess who did not fall?
Yourself.
Man,
Of course.
God is good.
God is good. God is good.
Everybody fell but me. Even Reggie was falling down. But God said, since I gave you bad feet at birth, because I had these bad feet, I'm gonna give you good feet now. Okay? And I run over to Reggie. I said, Reggie's been lateral this ball. Oh, for any Bears fans, Detroit fans, or people in our division, the North, a lateral is when you throw it behind you. Okay. But let me get back to the story. Reggie laterals me the ball. I'm running down. I get about the 15-yard line. I lose my mind. I said, you know what? I'm going to jump in the stands. And as I was getting closer, the people were yelling because they see me scored. The other half of the people like, did Reggie step out of bounds? Was it really a fumble? Like, I love your production. I love that. While I'm talking about it, this is amazing. Great show.
Memory
Right
lane.
about there, I make my jump. And
was it planned?
It blew me away. Because when I jumped up there, no, it was spontaneous. Can't you tell by this interview? Everything is spontaneous. I'm serious. That's how I am. It's baked in the cake. I'm only one way. And when I jumped up there, some guy yelled at me.
Somebody was
Not the
smacking
guy
you in
hitting
the
my
ass.
butt.
That's
Don't
what
forget
somebody.
about that part.
Yeah, somebody was smacking you in the ass. That's what
I know,
see.
right? And I didn't even get it. I didn't even get his phone number. That's for Pride Month. So when I get up there, a guy spilled his beer on me. He says, man, you owe me a beer. I spilled my beer. And then I came down, went to the bench, and you see Favre come over there with this Superman cape. He get this cape on because you just throw it off and run in the game. And we did some weird dance, and Doug Evans came out there. I remember going to the bench, and Holmgren says, boy, they're going to find your ass. I said, why? I'm celebrating with an owner. Well, what do you mean? Well, we don't have an owner. Our owners are shareholders. I want to show them, thank you for staying to the game. We were winning like 20. We won 28-0. If you're sitting in that cold weather drinking beer, I think I should jump up and hug you. And that's how the league was born.
That's crazy. Leroy, my dad got the epidemic in polio in '52, and so he
Hmm.
went through a lot, and I had just lost him 3 months ago. But
Oh, my condolences.
as an athlete, you going through what you went through, what made you keep the grind? Like dad was always my grind
Yes.
because I was doing something that my dad couldn't do. And you having
Mhm.
limitations when you were born and all the other stuff, like what pushed you? Was it the drive for the sport? Was it your parents? Was it just your love for the game? I always love to see this because it's like when you go through something like that, people don't understand that, and I love these stories.
Well, it wasn't the passion for the game. It wasn't anything. It's kind of hard to describe. When you grow up in poverty, I grew up in the inner city. It's called the Blodgett Homes. A lot of crime, violence, and I always heard these stories. If you don't have a father in the house, your kids are criminals. Because my mom raised 5 kids by herself,
God
and
bless
you
her.
got
God bless her.
two of my brothers. Thank you, I appreciate that. My brothers, two of my brothers were in the military. My sister was a nurse. So, and then you got a special education student like myself that uh, kids bully me all the time. I mean, I'm in the deep south now, so that's hard enough for you to go through. But now you go through having braces and things of that nature. And if I ever meet Tom Hanks, I'm gonna say, listen, I was Forrest Gump way before you made that movie. You owe me some money because there was no running, no jumping. My mom, I'm in Florida. We used to sit on the porch outside. I I could, and the swimming pool for the community was 100 feet away. This huge pool. I couldn't go because I can't swim. I got brace on my legs. I'm extremely pigeon toed. But every single day I had the same smile. And my grandmother really brought it home because I used to be very shy, like really shy, like no eye contact, look to the ground. And she said, listen, you need to talk to people because you're really funny like your grandfather. I said, yeah, but kids are really mean and things like that. She said, well, it ain't up to them. You got to determine what you want to do. And that's when I told her I'm playing in the NFL to get my mom. I didn't use the word poverty. I used the word poor. And I was laser focused on that. There was no plan B. In my mind, it was going to work. If I encountered somebody and I told them that I'm playing in the NFL, of course they're going to deny it, but it ain't up to them. It's up to me. And yes, I had a lot of luck along the way. But when you say grind, my mom, like your dad, my mom got up, catch a bus at 3:30 in the morning just to carpool to go to work. My sister, who's like my other hero, couldn't boil water. We didn't have a microwave, but she was just a terrible cook. I hope she's not listening to this program. Probably not. But that's where I developed my culinary skills.
Mm.
So I did the cooking, and my sister got the groceries. And I just watched my mom. I watched my grandmother. I watched my grandfather. And then it really came home. My grandmother gave me 50 cents every time in church. She sold Avon. It was like this cosmetic stuff.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
hundred
there's
percent.
Sister Gertrude. Take them there. Take her her stuff. Take her Stay Soft Fro or whatever the stuff. Take her the lotion. Take Miss. There's Mister. Take him that the aftershave, and I would deliver in church, hustling in church. God know my heart. Don't judge me. I had $5 at the end of every week in a shoebox. And that's what taught me about work. And along the lines, I expected to make it. And when I did, my mom said, be the same guy. Don't let success change you because you work too hard for it. And that's after that, being 8 years old, being in a hostile environment, and things just kind of worked out for me.
Leroy, let me tell you something. First of all, we have interviewed a lot of ex-athletes in their car. You're not the first, so that's the crazy thing. It seems like every athlete wants to hide from their wife or hide from their family because the kids or people are screaming in the house.
First of all, Leroy, you trying to make me cry because she said, man, like, golly, that was my dad, and I miss my dad every day. And
as you should.
To hear you say that about your mother and what you did, awesome, man.
Yes.
By the way,
that's the legacy, though. That's the legacy. Your parents leave their legacy for you. You can't forget that. Because he's watching his son now, and he's proud of you.
Well, it's my
father. I hope so.
My father passed away about 9 years ago. This year was 9 years. May 5th was when my father passed away. It's ever since my father passed away, it's been different for me and my family. It absolutely has. My sisters, my nieces, my nephews, they were very, very close with my father. So I know what it is to have.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is 100%. By the way, for all the fans that don't know, we are speaking to 2022 Packers Hall of Famer safety Leroy Butler. Now, Leroy, you mentioned Brett Favre, and I watched the documentary, the 30 for 30. Well, the Untold, the Untold Netflix documentary, and they portrayed him. They portrayed him to be a really, really bad dude. Now, I don't know Brett Favre personally. I really don't. But you played with him, really at the upscale of his career, and when he really became one of the top quarterbacks. He won 4 MVPs in a row. He will go down as to me. The sling thrower. That's what they used to call him. And he had probably one of the greatest arms of all time. And these stories coming out and really burying him as a player and what he did off the field and how he took advantage of people. Why don't you tell the fans a little bit about Brett Favre as a person, a guy that you obviously grew up with and got a chance to know?
Well, I just saw him like a week and a half ago. We were at a golf tournament. Told him we were doing a kind of a benefit for a mental health therapy company, which I get therapy every Thursday. And I did it basically through phone call because I was at another golf tournament for junior achievement. But what I told him a week ago, the people here, because we had something that it was like 200 or 300 people.
Right.
The people here, they don't care about that because people know that it was coming out. Don't even talk about that. Just tell them what. So that was one event. Then we went to a second event, and you had a little anxiety. It's Wisconsin. We don't even have TMZ here. There's no media here following you around. Be yourself. That's baked in the cake. Everybody know that story. It's new to a lot of people. But I didn't know that they could put out stuff about you without you using your likeliness and stuff like that of that nature. But all that stuff it was nothing new. So, your fans going to support you. But in this day and age, with the Diddy stuff,
ooh, the diddler,
all the other, a lot of, sending pictures. I thought that's how you make your career. I didn't know that hurt your career. That was a head scratcher for me. She missed the window. That window closed now. Yeah, come on, man. She supposed to, this thing was gone and I'll come back. We knew this stuff already. Yeah, that Busby guy, that lawyer, they be calling up. They be trying to get millions. Man, she missed that window. So your fans, they support you on and off the field. Now, again, having transgressions and having some issues. He's on Parkinson's skill, and
Yes.
you still do some horrible stuff now
Yeah.
on the field. I mean, you can't get around that. And one of the most horrible things is owing me $13 because I beat him in golf. That's more egregious than Netflix. I want my $13. And when I went up to ask him, he thought I forgot. I said,
$13.
nah, I ain't forgot.
I got
Yeah.
a dude like that too. I got called up to Double A, and I moved in, and he got sent down. I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you owe me $142.37." Still remember
Ooh,
it to
that's a
this
lot.
day.
Leroy,
Paying
That's a
the
lot. I
I
thought
was paying the
$13.
electric bill, dog. I was paying the electric bill.
Leroy, but
Oh, he got you.
what
He got
type of player was Brett Favre on the football field? What type of
Hey,
leader
man, I'm gonna
was
tell you
he,
something.
and what type of personality was he on and off the field?
Again, certain players is baked in the cake. He's just like me. He's only one way. He lived his life back then a little risky. He on the field a little risky, but that's what I wanted. I remember he threw an interception in practice. He was very upset. I said, wait, don't do that. Don't kick the grass. It's my job to get it back. And on the rare occasion, somebody caught a touchdown on me, I'm thinking on the bench, man, I'm going to be on Sports Center. He would hit Sterling Sharp, the newly inducted into the Hall of Fame, 80-yard bomb. Guess what? They forget about what I did. So we help each other. Anybody can have a friend where you're Hall of Famer and things are going great. You have a friend, somebody to talk to when things go bad. But the thing that really changed quickly was Reggie White. Reggie White was obviously, people thought he was the leader. Reggie White gets up and he says, it's not my team. I said, what you mean it's not your team? Yeah, it's not my team. It's Brett Favre's team. I said, wait a minute. Brett Favre don't give speeches. He just plays. But everybody, remember, my grandmother said this, God made everybody good at something. Because if you think about it, Reggie was correct. And when he said that in the meeting, me and Brett was in the back. He was teaching me how to play backgammon. It was like, man, why do white people play backgammon? What is this stuff, man? So he said, we play sheep's head too. I said, what is that? And he said, what y'all play? I said, we play spades. Next thing I know, Reggie's calling him up front. You're the face of the franchise. And Reggie was right. You know why? Troy Aikman, the face of the franchise for Dallas. Steve Young, face of the franchise for San Francisco. Our face was Reggie White. Reggie thought to help the team, don't look at me as the face. Brett's the face of it. Because I wasn't a rah-rah guy, neither was Brett. And then he didn't want to give no speeches. But when he first went in, we took over from McCaskill and throw the pass, only he can throw, I said, well, I like this guy. Yeah, we good. Yeah, we good. If you think you can make that throw, make it. And that's why we love playing with him and for him. Go back and look when his dad passed away. We talk about fathers on this show and mothers. When his dad died, he said, I'm still playing. I remember his ankle was the color of a crayon box. I said, man, your leg all pussy. You can't play. He said, Roy Lee, ain't nothing wrong with my arm. I'm playing. It's hard to argue with. I know they go by the GOATs with championships. It's hard to argue with a guy that never missed a game, and he played for 3 franchises.
Leroy, it has nothing to do. You can win 1,000,000 championships. As much as they want to say Tom Brady is the greatest player, the greatest quarterback of all time, I'm still taking Joe Montana over him. I'm sorry, I'm taking Joe Montana over him. And in the same thing,
that's good.
yeah,
That's good.
And
Good.
I look at accomplishments and what they have done through accomplishments.
Yes.
And Brett Favre, if you look at what he has done, I know a lot of people compare Brett Favre and Bart Starr and now Aaron Rodgers. When they've had, the Green Bay Packers have had superb quarterbacks and even coaches. Holmgren, he was a successful coach over there. You have obviously one of the greatest, some people would say the greatest coach of all time in the 50s. So we all know in Lombardi, so we all understand the background of the Green Bay Packers, but people forget like you said, Reggie White and what Reggie White was. And I think Reggie White is the greatest. And by the way, Lawrence Taylor, who everybody says is the greatest defensive lineman of all time. Lawrence Taylor came out, and I've quote unquote heard him say this numerous amount of times when I've been around him. And he said the best defensive player of all time is Reggie White.
Big Dog, amazing. In Super Bowl 31, I got it on VHS, so I know it's true. On Super Bowl 31.
Well, you know it's true if you have it on VHS.
And Beta. Don't leave Beta out. There's some old people out there. I say, listen, Big Dog, what you gonna do, man? Big Dog went out there, and that's his nickname, Big Dog. Went out there and got them 2 sacks. I said, we winning the Super Bowl. They couldn't block him. And the guy was amazing. I mean, and the thing about Reggie, real quick, was he sued the league to be a free agent.
Mm-hmm. I remember that, by the way.
And he came to the smallest market, the Green Bay Packers. That's a great story.
But here's another thing that people don't realize. Reggie was playing professional football in another league, and before he even came to the NFL, he had like 80 or 90 sacks before he even stepped on an NFL field. If you look at Reggie White's career and you compare both of them and put them together, he would have over 230 sacks in his career. So, and that would be double the amount of what he had over there in the NFL. Who, by the way, leads the guy that leads the NFL in sacks of all time? Reggie White.
The Memphis Showboats, I think that's who he played for in the USFL.
Yep.
The guy was amazing, man. That guy was amazing. He had this hump move. I said, they know why are they blocking you with one guy? And when they doubled him, that's when I got my 20 and a half sacks. So they said, well, we got to pick our poison. What do we do? But the guy was amazing to play with. Really was.
I'm sure you've heard about all this Aaron Rodgers drama that's been going on. Obviously, you played with the Packers a little before that, but what are your thoughts to everything that's gone on when he was a Packer and the last couple of years now with the Jets and the Steelers?
Listen, if I'm going to be 42 years old, damn right, I'm taking the whole off season off. I ain't coming in no OTAs. No, I ain't doing that. I'm going to go to the Amazon and search for a rare beetle. Only I can find it. And I'm going to walk on the beach, and my photographer gets this amazing picture of me with no shoes on, looking up at the sun's coming up or down, I don't know. And people were like, he's married because he has a ring on. I'm like, listen, it don't matter. If he's not in there by mandatory minicamp, then Pittsburgh, you dug yourself a hole. So I think he'll be there tonight, I think. But for the most part, though, this had better work. That's the only thing I'm saying. Or Tomlin going to take a dip. They're going to take a dip.
I think it's going to.
If this goes real bad, they're going to take a dip.
I think it's going to hit Tomlin right square in his forehead. As much as I love Aaron Rodgers.
They got to win the Super Bowl.
They got to make the playoffs
you don't get
first.
A 42-year-old quarterback. No, you don't get a 42-year-old quarterback for 1 year to just make the playoffs. They did that last year, Russell Wilson. You have to get to and win a Super Bowl.
Leroy, you know the 2 hardest divisions in football is the AFC North and the NFC North. Everybody knows it. The Green Bay Packers division, you have Minnesota and Chicago and the Lions. I mean, they're stacked. And then you go to the North. You got Baltimore, obviously. You got the Bengals. Now you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you have the lonely Browns. We all know what the Browns are. They're a laughingstock. But nevertheless, they pay Myles Garrett $40 million a year. I have no idea what they're thinking. They're giving the Deshaun Watson, they gave him a $240 million guarantee contract after he was getting his chain jerked a couple of times a year. So, I mean, obviously we know the whole story. So we all know that the divisions, and again, you say Pittsburgh needs to win a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh's got to make the playoffs. Yes. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Aaron Rodgers going over there, Tomlin's had a winning record his whole career. If Aaron Rodgers if he goes there this year and they don't have a winning record and they miss out on the playoffs, who do you think they're going to be pointing their fingers at? Aaron Rodgers. So.
Well, it'll be another Netflix special. You have 2 of them now.
Oh, please! I don't want to talk about his Netflix. He made the Jets.
At least he got paid for it,
dude. He made the Jets look like a joke. He made the Jets organization even look worse than they ever did. When he went over
Oh,
there,
we couldn't get past it without having to bring up the Jets.
well, he
In
was
his
a part
defense,
of the
I did it
Jets.
The
first.
Jets they haven't been to the playoffs since
Leroy, please. Leroy,
I was
please.
in ninth grade.
Stop,
I mean,
Leroy.
the,
Leroy,
the
it's not
Jets,
that
only thing
long.
we talked
It's not
about
that long.
was
It's 15 years ago. It's 15 years
If
ago.
it's his timeline of you
Dick
not
was
being
a
born in
minnow, put it
93.
that way.
It was the Rex Ryan
Moby
era.
Dick was a minnow. He was just, I mean, come
Oh,
on.
now we're going to talk about a whale? That's
Oh, yeah,
what
the
we're
guy
talking
that-
about?
Well, he had to start from his parents, so he was small, and it took a
Speedy,
long
calm
time
down
to grow.
over
That's
there.
what
You
makes
have
the
like
Jets
a
to win
stick up
anything.
your ass or something.
Hey, we all came from a nutsack. It happens.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. Jabba, I don't know where
I
you
mean,
came from, okay? You're not human. You're like a little
I'm pretty
tadpole.
sure I did.
You're like a tadpole, okay? That's where Jabba comes from. But
You guys are funny.
it's crazy, man. And I think that your story, and by the way, I got a chance to kind of see the background of who you are and how your journey began and where you really finished. It's an amazing story. And even you telling us the story about the Hall of Fame and how you got there and during COVID, that's even more interesting. But you know what's even more interesting about you, more than anything, is people forget that if you look at the Packers and how many Hall of Famers from the 90s to the early 2000s have gone in, a lot more than you think. And I don't have the number, but if I'm not mistaken, there has been 5 Packers from 88 to 2003 that have gone to the Hall of Fame. Did you know that?
I just know that the one that people keep bringing up because I live in Milwaukee, that the Bears has 1 or 2 more guys in than we do, and guys really, because sometimes you pick for multiple teams, you don't really go in as a team. But when you did most of your damage, like Aaron Rodgers, because he's gonna be first ballot.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I think they'll either tie them or we'll be down by 1. So overall, the Bears, everywhere I go, people hold that over our heads. They do. They just do.
They just want the overall record, not the modern record.
So,
Yeah.
Leroy, when you guys go to the Hall of Fame, like baseball, they choose a hat for them, and obviously, like you just said, that a lot of guys play for.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't do. Yeah, we don't do it.
It's just a gold jacket.
Yeah, but to your question though, all 4. If say you play for 4 teams, let's do it like this real quick. They could have an Aaron Rodgers day at Lambeau, which they will, and we'll put his name up. The Jets are going to do that because he was there for enough for a Coke and a smile. Actually, I like Sprite. Pittsburgh going to do that. He played 1 season there, and they're gonna go 6-11, and they'll put his name up. You can do as many parties if you want. It's kind of up to you and the team. So most guys usually pick the team that he played with the longest. So, and you also see guys signing back with the team to finish as that player. Now that player will only talk about that team. But I don't think Aaron's going to
finish their career that way.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron's going to do that. But we'll welcome him back once, he the Ravens blitz everybody at him, and he said, "Man, you know what? Maybe I need to go get some ayahuasca and chill out. This is not good."
So, by the way, I'm getting the numbers right now. There have been 4 from 1990 to 2024 that have gone to the Hall of Fame from the Green Bay Packers. 4. So
that's nice,
and
especially with Sterling. Yeah.
So I'm just
nice.
looking. I know Brett Favre. I know you. I know
Woodson.
Woodson. Actually, 5. And then you have Matthews. And if I'm not mistaken, who was the other guy? Who was the other
Donald
guy?
Driver?
No, it wasn't Donald Driver. Donald Driver.
No.
Campman?
No.
Was it Campman?
Yeah.
Aaron Campman?
Aaron Campman. That was the
Damn.
other one.
Leroy, that was a quick no on Donald Driver. Damn.
Wait, y'all talk about it. Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame?
Green Bay Packer Hall of
Pro
Fame.
Football.
Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame.
My bad.
Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame.
Pro Football of Fame.
Well, pro football is a little different.
Yeah, it's a little limited. I think Matthews is still trying to get in. He does.
Matthews is getting in.
Yeah.
But
I don't think Campman will get in. He's a good player, but not Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but in is basically me, Brett, and Reggie, Woodson,
right,
Sterling,
right.
But Kramer and Dave Robinson got in a few years back after waiting 38 and I think 40 years. Or
Yeah,
something
Kramer
like
was
that.
a while.
And Leroy
Yeah.
was Sterling better than Shannon?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes, 100%, 100%. I
Yeah.
don't.
Hey, I
I
never played in
told.
the NFL. I'm asking Hall of
No,
Famer.
it's okay.
No, no.
It's okay.
They're
Yeah.
both great players,
Yeah.
and you
My
know
son
that,
is like.
Leroy. You know that. They're both great players. They're both sensational players. But Sterling was
Yeah.
definitely better than Shannon.
I said if Sterling Sharp would have played 4 more years, he'd be the GOAT. He did 100 catches when they doubled him, and who cares? Just throw it to me, Brett. I'll catch it. Now in fantasy football, everybody got 100 catches. The man was truly amazing. So he's a little shy right now, so he's not been making a lot of appearances. But Sterling Sharp is great.
Other than you've talked about Reggie, right? Who was the best player or most athletic that you ever played with? And let's
Play with?
out of it. Or against.
Himself.
The most
Himself.
gifted? No,
Well,
it
he
definitely
can't
ain't
count
me.
himself.
Definitely. I wouldn't because I don't want to lie to y'all. I don't know what let me see. Randy Moss is sick. I don't know if he's human. But the best athlete of all time in any sport, football, it don't matter that he was born a grown man, is Deion Sanders. It's not even close. He didn't have to work out. He didn't have to run. He was born with grown man lungs, all of his teeth. I think he got married at 3. This guy was just better than everybody. And he taught me how to protect your brand. He got everything. We played intramural basketball. We were not playing until he got there. I said, where is he? Well, he's qualified for the 100 meters for the Olympics. Why? Because he can.
So I got a question for you before we let you go. I have to ask you this question because you mentioned him. Did Deion Sanders hurt his son's draft stock because of what he was saying?
No.
Or was it Shador just opening his mouth at the combine, not speaking or saying the right things the way he should have?
Well, it's definitely not Deion, because we've seen other fathers. Eli Manning, he ain't playing for the Chargers and get him over to the Giants. I mean, that's not unprecedented. But interviews and workouts, I think if they had to do it again, this is my opinion, I would have had him playing in the Senior Bowl. So the teams can work with him and see him. Because that's where you make your jump. To all the kids out there, the biggest thing, going to the Senior Bowl, not the combine. I would advocate, if you're not going to work out, don't even go. Let another kid go from another school to work that wants to work out. I would say my son is playing in Senior Bowl, so you can see everything. He'll be coached by pro people, and they'll see. And after that, I think he would have got drafted higher. Maybe you never know at this point, but certainly, I don't think you can say anything that somebody would say. Somebody said something, and I'm not going to draft him. But I will say this though. I will say this. I will say this. Pittsburgh, if that kid go up to Cleveland and plays well, Pittsburgh is not going to recover. Because instead of drafting him, you chose another route, which is fine. The Jackson Dart kid. They got 26,000 quarterbacks with the Giants.
And he proved himself.
Came back in the first.
I was just about to say that Jackson Dart really stepped up in the Senior Bowl, and that's why he moved up in the draft. A lot of people thought Jackson Dart was more than a third-round draft pick. He went all the way into the first round to the Giants because of what he did in the Senior Bowl. So I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely
I like the
agree.
Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
That was my point. The Senior Bowl, everybody's there. You can't hide. And you run through it. But then you can talk about the Saints. Carr, Retire. You didn't even take a quarterback. Okay, say you don't want to take him 9. Move back and get him and develop him. So all the teams that passed on him, history will prove who was right. If he plays and then turns out to be a great player. But we got to also say something too real quick.
Mhm.
The NFL don't always get it right.
Mhm.
They don't. Who thought these draft rooms, all 32 of them?
Mel Kiper's an
You know how many
idiot.
first
Mel
round?
Kiper's an idiot. He has no idea.
No.
He has no idea what he's
Mel-
doing. He doesn't know anything.
no,
Dude, if you
Mel-
ever
Mel
look at
Kiper
his
is-
board,
Mel Kiper.
the guy's blind. He is blind. Have you ever seen his draft boards? They're some of the worst draft boards I've ever seen in my. And ESPN's paying them. He's making like 8 figures, sitting there and talking his crap. How do you watch football?
Man, why you hate?
Because it's true.
Mel Kiper.
Mel
man.
Kiper's horrible.
Mel Kiper,
It's horrible, Leroy.
Mel Kiper is the GOAT.
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
I just said everybody on. I would take Mel Kiper over anybody out there doing any kind of draft stuff. I would. I'm just telling you, just take my word for it. This guy puts in a lot of work. When we're sleeping, Mel Kiper up, talking to people, looking at film. The guy's amazing.
You sure
Maybe
he's
you
not
don't
doing
like him 'cause
anything
his hair
else?
is still great.
You sure he's
Yeah,
not
that's
hanging out with
amazing.
Deshaun Watson or Bill? Robert Kraft?
Errol, you gonna argue with the Hall of Famer? You gonna argue with the Hall of
I'm
Famer?
just
guess it
saying.
makes it a good show.
If you look at Mel Kiper, if you look at his draft board over the last 15 years,
Yeah, right.
he has absolutely struck out in practically every single draft board.
Well, see. Here's where we can agree to disagree.
Mhm.
He would never strike out, and why? Guess why? He's not picking the players. The teams are striking out. So, because you can't go by what Mel Kiper say, go look at your own tape. These scouts. That's just the lazy way these scouts do it. I'll just look at Mel Kiper. And then when Mel Kiper gets it wrong, you're like, oh, well, that player didn't go. But if you do the history on Mel Kiper, you say, look at the history of all the players he projected, a lot of them in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
All right, Leroy. I love
It could be a Billy Goat. It could be a Billy Goat. It's old now, but that's tip of the sword.
It's a Billy Goat? Is that what
So
you're...
we can agree to disagree.
Listen. You know what your new nickname is? It's Leroy the Billy Goat Butler.
I like it. I'm going to trademark that. We're going to flip the
Leroy, I want you to do something before you go, okay? I want to get this recorded, okay? I want everybody to mute their mics because I want you to record this. I want you to say, you are now listening. This is Leroy Butler's. This is Leroy Butler, Hall of Fame Packers safety, and you are now listening to Joba the Mouth. Could you do that for us right now? Nice, loud.
That's too long.
Come on, man. Just give it to us.
That's too long, man.
Come on.
You got to give it. That's too. You got to make it tight.
All right, give us tight. Give us your tightness right here.
Well, you need a drop.
Yeah, give us a drop. I want to take this drop, and I'm going to put it on something so people can hear it. From the great Leroy Butler.
So give me the premise of your drop again.
Okay. This is Leroy Butler.
I know who I am. I know don't say me. I know who I am.
I'm trying to help you.
Give me you guys.
want me we're Joba in the Mouth.
Because I thought you didn't. I like you knew what show you was on.
I'm starting to forget, man. I'm a little lost today. I don't know. I'm dealing with tonsillitis. You believe it or not, I'm doing this show.
Yeah, he's been sick, so we got to give him a little break.
I've been very sick. As a matter of fact, I have been.
Well, I hope you feel better, but
Thank
you
you.
made it very entertaining.
Thank you. I really appreciate that,
Okay.
Leroy. And we want to get you on again, by the way. We'd love to get you on.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, give us a drop. Give us a drop, Leroy.
You are listening to the best show ever on Pro Football Hall of Famer LeRoy Butler, number 357. Joba and the Mouth. Best in the business.
I love it. I love it. I love you, Leroy. We really appreciate the time. You're fantastic.
307-49, baby. Cut that damn thing.
Well, I'm about to cut some cheese
Okay.
if I don't get to the bathroom and go to a break.
Man, y'all crazy.
Well,
It was good to talk to y'all, man.
I got to drop. I got to
Leroy, I
drop.
appreciate the time. Thank
Leroy,
you so much.
we have a drop center over
No
here. I
problem.
want you to hear some of our drops before we let you go. You ready to hear some of them?
Let me hear.
Oh God,
All right, here we go.
I gave up the booty there. Like I always gave up the booty. This makes my pecker hard.
Hold on.
You just made my nipples hard.
Man, what
As long as
show
she's
is
using
this?
dude wipes and taking care of my 2-hole, I'm good. Pulled it out of my ass.
Hold on.
Oh
on.
my God.
Bagel hole. I am a legend. Butt plug. Is that your cucumber, or are you happy to see me? Joba likes my shrimp
Oh
cocktail.
my God. You got people to say that?
Yeah, these are cuts from our show. We're crazy, dude. This isn't like any normal show. I mean, we don't sit there and...
How about insane?
Insane? Dude, if you actually listen to our show, you would know how insane we are, but we know what we're talking about.
I did listen. That's why I'm on the show. Shout out to my guy.
That's why we love you, Leroy. We're very happy to have you on, man. And we definitely want to get you on.
It.
And you're sensational. Thank you for the stories. Thank you for such a great career. And we're looking forward to getting you on again. You're sensational.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hey,
Y'all have fun.
and congratulations! It's, as a kid from the Midwest, you know, we had Amon Green and the Packers, and we had all that stuff. So I was fortunate enough to watch you and do that, and you were fantastic in everything you did, man. It was awesome. And then
thank you so much.
Your stories about your mom and you know how it really touched me, and you know it's kind of how I grew up with my father. So it meant a lot to me, and I appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. Again, thank you so much, guys. Y'all stay up.
We're going to stay up and tell your son or whoever was going into the back of the car, we love you too, buddy.
Yeah, that's my son.
I saw him waving behind you. I saw it. Beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep, beep. So, we
yeah,
really...
he loves it.
Yeah, well, we really love you, and the fact that you gave us 40 minutes of your time just says a lot about who you are as a person. So we really appreciate it.
All right, take care, guys.
Let's give him a golf clap, ladies and gentlemen. A little golf clap for Leroy Butler. Ladies and gentlemen, he was sensational.
Dude, we just had a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've had a couple of Hall of Famers on this show.
That's dope.
Yeah, he's really cool. And you want to know something? He's a great personality. I was ecstatic to get him on when Speedy said that.
Wow, guys.
His agent was on.
That was awesome.
His stories were great. He was fantastic. It was worth every bit of the wait.